Hello everyone, how's it going? This is Alpha Core HD Gaming and here we are for episode 3 of My Team Career Mode. Just currently at Monarch Motorsport headquarters doing a few activities, just trying to make a few resource points, keep some departments happy, a little bit of money on the way and just advancing through to see if there's any more upgrades come through. Our advisor at the bottom is just telling us that we're basically going to have to pick a rival soon, so there's going to be some sort of multiple choice coming up. Where we have to pick our rival for the rest of the season. Just flicking through a few screens there, you can see we still haven't got enough acclaim to get a second sponsor as well. And now we're going to a quick interview with Will Buxton.
Well, it's great to be back at your headquarters, and I've got to say, an awful lot's changed since we were last here. Let's dive in.
I don't know what's changed, Will, so how can you know what's changed? It looks like there's a couple of parasols, but nothing more.
Is there no more room for improvement?
So this question here, we've got no money, Will, but we're going to tell you that we invest heavily in our staff because that's the best answer we can give.
More comfortable with their car. Have you been focusing on their development?
So our second driver getting comfortable with the car, focusing on the development. So we're just going to say we've been putting him into the simulator. And my acclaim got affected by that for some reason. So we're like 2 races into the season and he's already talking about team orders. With our team, there's going to be no team orders unless, of course, one of us is leading the championship, even if that's me or the teammate. And if we can do something to benefit their race, of course, we'll send the other driver through if it's going to give us a chance of winning either championship. So at the minute, no team orders, but that might change. In terms of picking up points, we haven't really been picking up that many points. We're only 2 races into the season, like I said. And in terms of our actual goal for the season, I'm going to say that we're going to be looking to score plenty of points in the midfield. That's probably a good goal.
Well, thanks a lot for inviting us here. It's been fantastic.
Thanks, Will. So there we're just buying the power mapping perk because it's quite cheap, and you can see that's just our finances. And again there, no money, no acclaim for a second sponsor yet, and just some shots of Monaco because why not, and the Williams. So just an interview with Claire coming up.
Today. Let's have your take on it. Who would you say is your biggest rival at the moment?
So here is the rival question. Obviously Ricciardo and Sainz, they're in a McLaren and a Ferrari, and they're probably too far ahead of us to beat at the moment. My choices really were between Esteban Ocon and Alonso. I mean, Ocon would be the easy choice because I know we'll definitely beat him, but we end up choosing Fernando because I thought it's better to have a little bit of a challenge there. So again, just trying to give the diplomatic answers for each of these questions. So I'm already with the best team. So and if you answer this question with anything other than I'm not sure what happened, then your other department's going to notice what was said. So it's going to kind of affect their morale, and we don't want that. There's our rivalry with Fernando, and there's our resource points following practice 3. So we're going to start banking those. We can't actually make any more upgrades at the moment. We're still just waiting on all the other upgrades. But these practice programs that we're doing, you can see they make a discount on each of our upgrades, so it's going to be cheaper when we actually want to buy them. But at the minute, we're just completely maxed out. We don't have enough money to buy any bigger facilities, and we don't have any more capacity, as you'll see here. I was just flicking through this screen and I just saw that the supplier upgrade has arrived, the general wear upgrade. So no, we can't upgrade anything else at the moment. We're just waiting for hopefully after this race that we'll end up having some more spacer upgrades. As you can see here, might be a bit controversial, but with this being the most important qualifying session of the season, I switched the engine out because I wanted to make sure we had the most power for this race to get as far up the grid as possible, because obviously qualifying is so important. We are going to be obviously going to Baku soon, which is going to be really had the long straight, and your engine power is going to be a big thing there. But I think it's even more important in Monaco that we get as high up the grid as possible. So here we are coming into qualifying, our first lap at full tilt in full qualifying trim, just making sure we don't spin the wheels up there, opening the DRS, heading down to San Divot, slowing down just enough so we can get the car turned in, not cutting the right too much and not sliding to the left, opening that exit up all the hill towards Massenet, and just now feeding the car through the barriers as much as we can dare, making sure we don't slide out to the left there, and then sweeping right just before Mirabeau before coming back to the left. You see there we get a little bit of understeer, so we have to slow right down, then all the way down to first gear for the lowest hairpin, the slowest corner on the calendar. And just again, just patience, feeding the car through this section, then through Portier and onto the back straight through the tunnel with the hotel. a little bit of a respite now as we head through the tunnel and then we head towards the Nouvelle chicane. Probably my favourite corner on the track here. So you slow right down just off the 100 metres board, flick the car left, flick the car right, open the exit out so you can get a good bit of traction there. Into the back, carry as much speed as you dare, just flick the car in, and then through the swimming pool complex. Just be careful of that curve. You see there the right wheel's just spinning up and gives a little bit of instability. Coming through there, we do actually clip the barrier, but even though simulation damage is on, we survived that, we don't get any damage. And coming around the final corner, DRS open, we're heading towards the line, and it's going to be a 1 minute 9.6. So at the minute that's good enough for second place, but obviously as people improve that's going to tumble us down the order a little bit, and as the session finishes you can see we get through in 9th place, just between the Aston Martins. So we're a little bit of an Aston Martin sandwich there, but also Nobuharu Matsushita, our teammate, has made his way through. So both of us through from Q1, which is a great start. So onto our lap in Q2, you can see here we're opening the DRS again, coming down the straight, heading towards Saint-Devote. So like I said, just trying to keep the car from going too much over that curve to the right. It's a little bit of pot luck, especially with cars when your car's not that good. It's either you get understeer or oversteer, so you kind of got to compensate for a little bit. And sometimes it'll just cut that corner a little bit too much, sometimes not. So most of the time we go over that corner without having to cut it, but sometimes it just turns in and it's just catches you by surprise, so you just got to go with it. So this lap, again, just being a bit patient, nearly hitting that barrier on the left hand side, and managed to keep the wheels out of the wall. A little bit of wheel spin coming onto the back straight through the tunnel. At this moment in time, we don't know whether we're up or not. We're kind of just trying to keep the lap together, straighten the car up there for the next section. Very good exit. We kept some good speed up there, and just about keeping the car at the wall. I don't think we so a purple first sector again. Wheels over that right hand curb. It's deadly. It can nearly spin you out. So coming around the final two corners. Obviously our lap in the Q1 was a 1 minute 9.6, so let's see how we do as we come down the main straight, hugging the wall on the inside. It's a 1 minute 9.3, so we've improved by 3/10, and I think in the first section we were actually purple at one point, but it's good enough to get us through to Q2, through Q2 to Q3. So you can see there we've 6 thousandths ahead of Pierre Gasly in the end. So this is the end of our lap at Q3. You can see it's a 1 minute 9.5, which is actually slower than our lap in Q2. Just letting Valtteri Bottas through there. And now we're going to go into our best effort in Q3. You see approaching turn 1, we're actually down on the delta. We're actually nearly a 10th down, and that's still going up as we head through Massenet. So there's a little bit more time, a 10th and a half there. We're actually we were down at one point, so there is a lot of time that was still on the table. Even with the lap, with the time that I did in the end. So into Lowe's hairpin, nicely slowed down. On the previous lap we'd lost a 10th and a half there as well, so we lost time, and see how much we went into the green as we turn around Portier and get a nice exit onto the straight. We're now 1.5 tenths up from being 1 tenth down, so we've gained 2.5 tenths in this lap, near enough. And we get the Nouvelle chicane perfectly, and we're now nearly 4 tenths up of our exit. Very brave through to back there, and the car's much more stable, and we do clip the barrier again a little bit. Again, survived it, didn't get any damage. 4 tenths up now as we come through the final section, and 4.5 tenths up as we come onto the main straight. So this is going to be a very good lap time for us, and it's put us into P7. Ahead of the Ferrari, so we've out-qualified Charles Leclerc at his home Grand Prix. So we've already done something to spoil his party. As you can see, we've qualified just ahead of him, a 10th and a half, but I don't think we could have caught the McLarens. We did have a little bit of time in the bag, but you know, in terms of getting a perfect lap in, I just don't think it was possible to find that extra time and hold the lap together all the way around. So I think we've done pretty well there to be in P7. There's our rivalry breakdown, Fernando Alonso. You see we've got 1,200 acclaim, and also there you can see I've got our acclaim there with Nobuharu, just the team acclaim. Maybe soon we can actually afford to get a second sponsor on the car and start making some real inroads in terms of money. 7th place, wow. So the engineer saying, I think I can call that successful qualifying. You're damn right you can, engineer. 7th place in Monaco, where track position is everything, then it's put us in a really good position for the race. So a view of the boats, the yachts in the harbour, and the hill goat casino as we get ready for the race. I just want to talk a little bit about what my interpretation of the track is, and kind of like how I feel the car should be set up for this track. So from what I've been learning through practice sessions, so you'll see it when we actually show the setup before the race, but it's obviously downforce is very important, so you've got to keep your downforce is going to be high, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to unbalance the car. So with wings like we did try like 11-11 wings and then 10-11 and so on. I found already in the first couple of races this season that having a balanced set of wings, so having the wings actually matched up to each other, so for example 6-6, 7-7, 8-8, 10-10, it works a lot better for the balance of the car, and it makes your car a lot more stable. The second thing is that the springs on the car, we've had to soften them right up, so they're pretty much the softest they can be throughout the car, which means that the obviously that's going to help through the prolonged corners. So like if you've got like a long left-hander, a long right-hander, it's going to really help you out. Obviously you want to strike a balance there, but I found with the setup that it was best to go with the softest springs possible, and you'll see the setup, as we get through to the actual race. So just running through the grid at the moment, you can see there we're in 7th place, Norris, and then Leclerc, then Leclerc, Sainz, Stroll, Gasly, Vettel. Our rival Alonso only qualified 13th, so his lap time was actually 4 tenths slower than us, and our teammates in 16th. Then Russell, Raikkonen, Mick Schumacher, Giovinazzi, Latifi and Mazepin's rounding out the grid. So we're going to go to the grid soon, and we'll just have a little bit of a look at what we're doing in terms of the tyre strategy and everything. So here we are on the grid, and we're just going to have a quick look at the tyre strategy. You can see we're starting with soft tyres, and then we're going to go to the medium. In terms of the fuel, I was going to take some out, but then I decided to put it back in because I wanted to go full attack. I didn't want to be doing any sort of fuel saving as well, so I've put the fuel back in and gone for 79 laps, so we don't have to be doing any fuel saving. I was kind of worried that the AI, despite us qualifying quite high up, would show their pace, and we'd be holding up a train of cars, so I decided that we should just go full attack and be no fuel saving if we can. So setup wise, this is what I've come up with, obviously for my team on this career mode, so it might be slightly different for you, but it's kind of a baseline setup of what I'm using. It feels comfortable for this car, so obviously feel free to pause, go back, have a look at it if you want to use this setup, and let me know how it works. We're about to go to the grid very shortly though, so 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and a very long hold. And we're away. We make an absolute rocket start. We make a very good start in first gear, and it allows us to actually pull alongside Ricciardo, but we have to jump across the curb to avoid him because he wasn't going to give us any room. Unfortunately, the AI just didn't recognise that we were there on the inside, even though we were fully alongside. He wasn't going to give us any space at all, so if we hadn't gone across the curb, it probably would have been a very big first corner smash. So we've made it through the first corner, and we're just heading down to the Lowe's hairpin behind Perez. Just the first lap, see there's a little bit of a yellow flag there, now it's on green again. But shortly I'm just going to show you a replay of that first corner and just how far alongside Ricciardo we were. We got a good initial launch, and then we had to slow down a little bit, and then we pulled alongside. You can see here. So Verstappen gets away very cleanly. Looks like the two Mercedes are battling. But we get alongside Ricciardo, and he's just there is a little bit of space, but I think if we moved any more to the left, we probably would have hit the curb a bit hard, and then we would have ended up smashing into both McLarens. So DRS has been enabled. We're on lap number 3 now, and we've got Ricciardo for company right behind us.
The gap to the car ahead is 5.6 seconds.
So the Red Bull's pulling away already. You can see it's pulling away about a second a lap. The gap's now
in front is
7.7 seconds. So we've got no chance of catching up with this with the front guys. They're just too quick for us. We're holding up Ricciardo at the moment.
To teammate behind is 15.6 seconds.
And we've already pulled out a gap of 15 seconds. That was after 7 laps. So our teammate's 15 seconds back.
Be aware, we expect the grip levels to start falling away soon.
So yes, we were losing a bit of grip at this point on lap 15, but my plan was to kind of go. The pit stop lap was lap 21 for these tyres, so I wanted to go as long as possible because I didn't want to be in a position where if I'd pitted too early that the safety car suddenly came out and then we'd pitted, and we were behind everybody else because they got a free pit stop for a safety car. So I was aware that we were probably going to get undercut by a few people behind us, but I was quite confident
We're approaching
that
the pit window. You'll be on the
we'll
mediums.
probably have some pace to get back at them based on what was going on so far. You could see even on lap 19 we were actually pulling out a gap on some of the cars behind us already.
We're boxing this lap. Give us the best in lap you can.
So this is lap 21, we're about to pit, and you can see that Perez has just got so much more grip because he's already pulled out a pit stop and then pitted and got some new tyres on. He just drives clean around our outside on lap 21, and that was the signal for us to go into the pit lane. So it was a very quick pit stop. It was 2.1 seconds obviously, but we've lost a bit of time with the guys undercutting us. Very leisurely we were coming out of the pit lane there. There wasn't any rush to come out because there was no real threat from behind. It was just our Stroll that was with pits behind us. And very quickly, as soon as we came out of the pit lane, it was quite.
Gap to the car ahead is 6.3.
So we were 6.3 behind Sainz, but it became quite obvious that we had a bit of pace. So we were approaching the Ferraris quite quickly. You see we're already down to 4.6, and that's one lap later, I think that is. So it's 1.7 seconds in one lap. So we were absolutely steaming up behind these guys with the fresher tyres, and by lap 25 we're right behind Carlos Sainz. And we're dragging Lance Stroll along with us as well into the battle. So by lap 26 we're right behind this whole train of cars, and I knew at this point that I had to do something if I was going to make sure that my race was going to be a good one and go forward, because if we got stuck in this train we could end up with a race-long battle. So as soon as we approach the back of Sainz here, we kind of start making moves straight away. You see how close we are in the braking zone. Our braking is just so much better, and so I used that to take the position into the Lowe's hairpin, something which I'll repeat on the next couple of laps as well with the other guys. So that's the first move, and obviously that's us up to 11th place.
Okay, good work, great pass.
The engineer giving us a little bit of praise there, which is great. And this is the off-board angle of it. You can see there we took the position from Sainz just into the hairpin, and Stroll got a little bit of interest. But the very next lap we do the same move on Leclerc, and luckily he gives us enough space so we could take the position. But we've just got so much more grip than these guys at the moment, and this is again the off-board replay of us just taking the position, just sneaking up the inside in the hairpin up to 10th place. Now we tried it on Alonso, but he wasn't as compliant as the Ferraris, and he turned in a little bit on us, so there was a little bit of wheel banging, but we made it stick as well. You can see there we had the job done, but then Alonso turned in on us a little bit. And then we approached up to Ocon, and Ocon was a little bit more difficult than Alonso. We just, I think it was because he was using the DRS off Sonoda, and we just couldn't get around him. You can see we're having a look, but he was just a little bit better than those guys on the brakes into the hairpin. So we did the job in the Nouvelle chicane. Just about got the car stopped. You can see here this is another angle of the overtake. So again, just making sure we get ourselves over that curb, just don't cut the corner. So up to 8th place, and then we approach the back of Sonoda. A much more traditional move down the main straight with the DRS now. It's very scary this, just as he moves to the left slightly. There's not a lot of space, but again we're just about clear of him, so he backs out of it and we're up to 7th place. So for the next phase of the race, I felt like we had the pace to keep some of the other cars behind us, for example the Alpines, but
this pace is strong, but be aware your tyres need to go the distance.
So you can see we're on lap 34, and that's the engineer just warning us about tyre wear. So yeah, I felt like we had the pace to keep, for example, the Alpines behind, and as we got to lap 40 you can see some of the strategies playing out. We were keeping the gap to the Alpines and we were actually building it up. And you can see Perez is just way ahead, and I think like obviously the Red Bull and the Mercedes were like a second and a lap quicker than us, give or take with the tyre wear. So Perez is 44 seconds ahead, Ocon's 11 behind. You can see as the laps go on we start building the gap to the Alpines.
We're leading our teammate by 58.8 seconds.
And we're leading our teammate by nearly 59 seconds over 42 laps, so we've got good pace. We're getting lapped now by Verstappen and Hamilton. And also there's a McLaren in this group of cars which we couldn't hold behind, so we had to let him go anyway. But then soon after that he pitted, so we couldn't keep the. I felt like if we were on like similar sort of strategy to the Ferraris, that even with the then with having slightly older tyres, that I felt like the Ferraris would be a threat to us. So whilst we were kind of being followed by the Alpines, I was quite comfortable.
Started to drop back. There's a gap beginning to form.
And you can see there we've actually been told the gap's beginning to form, and we're actually building a gap. But as soon as those Ferraris got clear, I decided it was time to pit, because we've obviously already shown that we were able to pass some cars earlier in the race, so I thought the tyre advantage we're going to have, it's just going to make sure we consolidate 5th place rather than be under threat from the cars behind. And you can see, unfortunately, we couldn't get out ahead of Gasly, so we've got another car to overtake, and we need to get this job done pretty quickly. So you can see we're going to do the move down to Nouvelle Chicane, again just about getting it all stopped and make sure we don't cut the corner entirely. And you'll just see
good job. Nice overtake.
Some more praise for the engineer there, and you'll just see the off-board footage in a second of how the overtake happened. So yeah, there's the move done. That's ahead of Gasly. So yeah, I felt really in the first stint with the red striped tyres that when the tyre wear really increased and the traction dropped off, that we were starting to really struggle, and I didn't fancy myself against the AI with their superior traction towards the end of the race. I felt like if we were on like really old tyres ourselves and they were on really old tyres, that they were probably gonna get us on one of the corners and see a boot full of throttle there as we overtake Lance Stroll. And we've now, on lap 53, got to the back of Carlos Sainz, so we're going to pass the Ferrari again for the second time this race as we head down the main straight. It was again really scary because they kind of moved to the left a little bit. There's not a lot of space, but we just about get the job done and round the outside. And again, we'll just have a look at the off-board footage of how
great manoeuvre
of that move from the off-board camera as well. So nice little overhead shot going to the final corner. Got our DRS open, and just going to see how we just take it around the outside, and he has to go over the curb to avoid any contact, so we squeezed him on the inside a little bit. Now we got up to the back of Leclerc, and it was again a bit like Ocon, it was a little bit harder.
Okay, you're catching the car ahead, but remember we need to get to the end of the race on these tyres.
He's definitely wanted to defend this more than Sainz did, with it being his home Grand Prix. So we're kind of nearly pushing him around some of these corners, especially down to Nouvelle Chicane, you'll see. But we just don't have the... We just weren't close enough on the first few laps as we got to the back of him. So they're really just pushing him through Nouvelle Chicane there, just having to avoid him as we go through that chicane. And finally we get right to the back of him on lap 57 and are very, very close now. You can see our newer tyres are really helping us as we come off that corner. And we're actually clear of him just before we get to the first corner. And again, he has to back out of it, so we'll just get another
nice move. Good job.
Another little off-board footage to show just how much we were pushing him around that final corner. So you see there, he has to take avoiding action because we both weren't going to fit through that corner.
You're pulling out a second a lap on the car behind.
That was music to my ears when we were told we were pulling out a second to the Ferrari. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. So they're just lapping Latifi.
There's been an incident on track resulting in loose debris.
So
fortunately,
there was a few incidents throughout the race, but there was no safety cars. I don't think there has been any safety cars this career so far, so it's kind of disappointing. But I mean, a safety car would probably have ruined our strategy. So just lapping Giovinazzi there, and then lapping Mazepin. And you can see by the delta to Perez, we're actually pulling Perez in. And this is, I think, the fastest lap of the race that we did. So I'm just going to stay on board for the lap. You can see that even on these used tyres that we were able to put in a really quick lap. It wasn't quite the quickest lap of the race, but it was very, very close. So it was, again, another promising sign for us. We just had really good pace in this race, so it was really, I was really happy with this race in terms of like the fact that we were going forward for once and not going backwards, and we were able to attack, which was really fun. So you see we got the gap down.
You're increasing the gap on the car behind by 0.5 per lap.
But I think it was bigger than that. We were like, I think it was more like a second again still, but we're like literally nearly 20 seconds ahead of a Ferrari at this point, and we're bringing the gap to Perez down. So, you know, if we'd had a bit more pace in the early part of the race, we might have been a bit closer. But I still don't think.
Gap to car in front is 50.9
As we set a purple middle sector, I still don't think we had any hope of catching the guys in front of us, like the Red Bull and the Mercedes. But we still, to be in 5th place and we're showing this pace was really was good. So you see there, 1:11.3, and we just lapped Mick Schumacher there, just absolutely flew past him. He did a really good job getting out of the way as well. So round the final corner, the winner of the race is Max Verstappen. I think he's led every session of this race. I'm not sure if he's lost the lead at any point, but 5th place for our team.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
And we actually claimed driver of the day as well, which is absolutely amazing for us. You'll see it pops up on the screen any second now. So there you go, driver of the day, José Rodriguez from Monaco Motorsport. What a result for us! What a result! A big haul of points. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the fastest lap, but we were close. We were very close.
Fantastic result here at Monaco.
So nice view of the harbour. There's Max Verstappen's car, getting out of his car, celebrating with his putting the finger up.
This was a real team victory. They put together a
See the Mercedes on the podium as well, by the look of it.
Out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
So yeah, what a race for us. I think we nearly lapped out a teammate. I think we was very close to lapping him, but we just didn't quite get there in the end.
And they're certainly proving themselves.
So I don't think we're going to get a result like this in the next race in Baku, because it's just so much easier to overtake. I think it's Baku, I'll have to check, but it's just so much easier to overtake. So hopefully though, some of our upgrades are going to come good, and we'll end up just having a bit of a performance boost anyway. So you can see there, we were only a 10th off Lewis Hamilton's fastest lap, which was really cool. So Ant Davidson's just about to give us the driver of the day.
I have to give it to Rodriguez. That was a commanding performance today. Very impressive indeed.
Let's move on to the constructors.
José Rodriguez, commanding performance for Monaco Motorsport. Thank you very much. So yeah, we're in the Drivers' Championship. Valtteri's still leading. I think we're up to 9th place with 11 points, and also Monaco Motorsport up to 6th place with 11 points. The next few screens are just going to be our rivalry and acclaim and things like that. All like the things that we got from being in the race. Winning, I wish we did, but yeah. I just wanted to say thank you for watching the video. Obviously, if you're new to the channel, subscribe if you're new. If you like the video, just drop a like on it. It really does help me out, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.
We'll be right back.